it never pays to be optimistic on peace in this very difficult situation. But it does seem to me there is now, let's be frank, a pretty generous offer of, sustained 40-day ceasefire, the release of potentially thousands of Palestinian prisoners in return for the release of these hostages who've now been in captivity for over 200 days. So I hope Hamas do take this deal, and frankly all the pressure in the world and all the eyes of the world should be on them today, saying take that deal. It will bring about this stop in the fighting that we all want to see so badly. And let's assume for a second that does happen. That would be a good outcome. But then the most important thing is, how do you build the momentum to turn that stop into the fighting into a permanent, sustained ceasefire and a political process that can bring this conflict to an end? And I think there's a number of things we need to see. We need to see the Palestinian Authority that's now been appointed. We need to see that invested in and supported by others and getting set up in Gaza. We need to see the release of all the hostages, fundamentally. This conflict won't come to an end until all the hostages are released. We need to see a proper political horizon for a two-state solution so that we can see a future in which there's a secure Palestine alongside a secure Israel. But crucially, this won't work unless the other two conditions are fulfilled, which in my book would be the fact that the people responsible for October the 7th, the Hamas leadership, would have to leave Gaza, and you've got to dismantle the terrorist infrastructure in Gaza. Because fundamentally what this comes down to is, unless you can see two things happening at the same time, we're never going to make progress. And those two things are, you've got to see a political future for the Palestinian people, but you've also, crucially, got to see security for Israel. And those two things have to go together. And I think one of the challenges as we have these meetings here, which is so worthwhile, is to make sure we focus equally on both. Because the Palestinians will only feel secure if they can see the horizon to their own state, and Israel will only feel secure if they can see the concept of a Palestinian state that doesn't threaten their own security. So we're in a better place potentially than we've been for a while, but we really need to see this hostage offer accepted and the pause in the fighting so that we can then create the momentum, and that's the job of the foreign minister.